Hello everyone, how is everyone? Let's get into this story, but before we do, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber, and share this video. We have to be ever so careful about who we allow in the churches and who we get involved with, who we start relationships with, or even allow ourselves to enter into relationships. Now, this man posed as a pastor in small black churches. Yes, you heard me right. Not a small black church, but small black churches with the ES, plural. And he had at least 10 wives, including one in Virginia. Now, he's accused of serial bigamy, posed as a pastor at small black churches around the country, was sentenced to 3 years in prison after he was found to have had at least 10 wives whom he married for financial gain. Now, Orlando Coleman's first marriage was to a Virginia woman in 2001. The 51-year-old man traveled around the country pretending to be a pastor or bishop. He married 9 other women in Delaware, Iowa, Kentucky, Nebraska, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, and 2 other states. But you know that it's not just men that do that. It's also women as well. They marry several husbands, and they marry them for financial gain. And it's not just men, it's women. So I want to be clear on that, because I don't want to just come out and talk about this man that did it. And he needs to be exposed, of course, but there are women that are doing it as well. And they're trying to get financial gain. And they've had stories of women doing it, where they've come out and married several men, and even the men and husbands have passed away. And then they're collecting all of this money and Social Security. So in an interview in December 2021, one of Coleman's wives said they got married within a month after meeting because she thought he was a real man of God. But let me say this, women, just because they pretend to be a real man of God or a real woman of God, you should not be marrying anyone in 1 month unless you know pretty much a lot about them. Because we probably will never know everything about someone, especially if we've never lived with them. But a month is such a very, very, very short time to marry someone. You have not even got a chance to get to know them. You haven't dated them long enough to see what the odds and ends are, what they're like, what they don't like, the nuances. There is so much things to learn about someone. So marrying someone in a month because you thought they were a man of God. Did God lead you to that man? Did you really know he was a man of God? Because you know we have thoughts, and we create thoughts and images in our mind. You know that because it all starts at the head. And so we create these thoughts and images, but is that really according to God? You know what? Now, that's not God. And did God lead you to that husband? Or did God lead him to the husband? Because you know when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So you married this man in 1 month and you didn't know him. Now, the women took care of Coleman, and they were left stuck paying for his housing, food, and bills. Because, see, this man really was a Don Juan, you know. He was just playing all the women, and they were taking care of him. So he put on the Ritz and really posed as a pastor. He presented himself as a man of God in these small black churches. And you know what? Women, you cannot be desperate for a husband. You gotta wait on God, because it sounds like some stuff was going on that could have been prevented. I'm just saying. And it's not to bash anybody, but we need to use some spiritual discernment, some common sense. We just gotta protect ourselves at all costs. Now, when Coleman left the women, Some of them filed for divorce, while others did not. That meant that he was a serial bigamist. Now, in Virginia and Houston, wives, the fake pastor scheme began falling apart in 2021 when he married two women 5 months apart. Now, after leaving the woman he married in Virginia, he married a woman in Houston. Now, according to documents, Coleman's wife in Houston discovered he was receiving money from the woman in Virginia and contacted her. And when she discovered they were both married to the same man, she contacted the Harris County Sheriff's Office, and they investigated and filed bigamy charges against Coleman. You know, bigamy is a very serious offense. So if you're out there and you're one of the people doing that, you might want to take care of that situation, because guess what? This is what happened to Coleman. Someone found out, and they contacted the authorities, the sheriff department, the sheriff office. And guess what? Bigamy charges were filed against Coleman. And then there was this confession of the bigamist. In July 2023, Coleman pleaded guilty to bigamy, which is a felony in Texas. And see, it depends on the state that you reside in. It could be a felony, it could be a misdemeanor, or it can be a second-class misdemeanor. It depends on the state that you reside in. Now, he was sentenced to 3 years probation and the chance to have his record cleared. Now, 2 months after that, now check this out, 2 months after that, he married a woman in Kentucky while still married to the woman in Virginia. So if that wasn't enough, after they sentenced him to 3 years probation, he violated his probation and he turned around 2 months later and married a woman, and he was still married. He just really hadn't got enough yet. But subsequently, prosecutors filed a motion to revoke Coleman's probation, and a judge agrees to impose the 3-year sentence this month. So women, be careful out there. And men, be careful of women doing it, because guess what? It is happening. And there are people out here that do that. And there are people out here that are still in that situation. And see, this man, he was still in that situation. And he went and married another woman. And guess what? They revoked his probation, and now he is behind bars serving a 3-year sentence. And rightfully so, because you should never be lying on documents that can be used as a legal document. That application, when you complete it for a marriage license, can be used against you in the court of law. And there is ways of the authorities finding out about you. If you think that they can't find out, they absolutely can. So it is very important to make sure that if you're going to get married, that you do a background check and you make sure. Now, we know that some clerks don't do their homework or research, and maybe they don't have the resources or I'd say the access, not so much of the resources, but the access to run these names in the system, to pull it up before someone goes off and decides to get married again and become, that name, bigamist. And so you are a bigamist if you are doing those things. So don't commit bigamy, because they will catch you sooner or later. You can run, but there is no hiding place. And in this case, Mr. Coleman had no hiding place. And the woman that married him and then found out about the other woman and reported him to the authorities, she did rightfully so, because it's not right to be married to more than one person at a time. In America, it's called bigamist or bigamy. You are a bigamist, but in America, it's called bigamy. Now, they may do that in other countries, and in the Bible back in the day, they did it, and they came up with their own laws. But you know what? God came back And he said, no more of this. And he said, marriage is between one man and one woman. He came back and said that. Because, see, back then, God knew that they lacked understanding. But in this day and age, you ain't lacking understanding. Coleman, you didn't lack understanding. You were just out there using up these women and posing as a pastor. Now you behind bars where you deserve to be. And if you get out, whenever you get out, stop going around marrying all these different women when you're not divorced from the woman that you married originally. And then again, who would want to now marry this man knowing that he's already had like 10 to 12 wives? So with that being said, you all, please leave your respectful comments below. Let me hear what you think. Let me hear what you think about this. Do you know of anyone? Have you heard of someone? But let me know what you think. Leave your respectful comments below. And then don't forget again, give the video a thumbs up, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. And for all of my new subscribers, thank you so much. God bless you.